As Lucy mentioned, I'm Ellen Jackowski. I'm the Chief Sustainability Officer at Mastercard. And I have participated in New York Climate Week many, many times, never London Climate Action Week. So I'm thrilled to be here. And I love what London has done. Action Week, right? New York Climate Week, London Climate Action Week. So very excited that this week is really focused on action. What can we all do? What should we be doing differently? And how do we start doing it right now? And so as you all know, we are at a very pivotal moment today. The choices that we make right now will determine the future of us as a people, our prosperity, and our planet. So now, what is Mastercard's role in all of this? Kim on the panel before mentioned a little bit about her career journey, so I'm going to frame this a little bit in terms of my career journey. I've only been at Mastercard in this role for about a year and a half, and prior to that, I was in a sustainability position as the Chief Impact Officer at HP. Very different company, a company focused on PCs, printers, 3D printers, manufacturing a lot of things and putting them out into the economy. So in that sense, I come from the supply side, right? A company supplying a lot of products and services. I'm now kind of on the other side of the economic equation, the demand side, right? Mastercard doesn't really make anything. We're not a manufacturer. We're payments technology. We sit in the center of the economy. We have over 100 million points of acceptance out there. So hopefully all of you have a Mastercard. You're using it at some of those 100 million merchants around the world. We have 20,000 banking partners and over 3 billion cards in circulation. 8 billion people on the planet, 3 billion cards. We see a tremendous amount of consumption, right? And we know in terms of the actions that need to be taken, all of those merchants on our network need to be encouraged to offer more sustainable products and services. But equally, on the demand side, those 3 billion cardholders need to ensure that they're making more sustainable choices every day. So this is kind of a balance of the equation. Again, I came from that supply side, but I now have kind of a perspective and have some levers that can help create more demand. And that's exactly what we're trying to do at Mastercard. So how do we go about activating our entire expansive value chain? What do we need to do, and what do we need to inspire, inform, and enable our whole value chain to accomplish? And that's how we think about our sustainable consumption strategy. And I think this model can apply to perhaps your organization, your business, and even when you think about your community. Those 3 words: inspire, inform, and enable. And we know, of course, and I saw this a lot at HP, where we were busy, reinventing our computers to use ocean-bound plastic and how we make the parts and all these things. So we would come up with these incredible innovations, and ahead of time we would ask, who wants to buy these things, right? And everyone raises their hands. I do. I want to buy something more sustainable, right? It's the right thing to do. It's aligned with my values. I want to do it. And then we would often see the data. Who bought the more sustainable product or service? Not nearly as many people who said they wanted to do it, right? So it's the infamous say-do gap. How do we start closing that gap? And that's really kind of the nexus of the work and where I'm focused every single day. So let's talk about the first segment of the strategy, inspire. People want optimism, right? There's so much doom and gloom in the climate narrative. And what we found from all the testing is the messages need to stay on the positive, on the optimistic side, to really get people engaged and want to choose differently. And so the way that we're thinking about that is the power of our brand, priceless, right? You've all probably seen the commercials, seen the words on posters and banners at events you may have attended. And how are we reimagining what do we value as priceless? Like, of course, our planet is priceless. A healthy, vibrant community is priceless. And living a sustainable, fulfilling lifestyle is priceless. So how do we action that, right? How do we take the brand and actually build in more optimism around sustainability? So I'll give you an example of some kind of disruptive work we started doing this year with some of our sponsorships. And I'll pause for a second in the story about Inspire to talk about Mastercard sponsorships. Why are they so important? Well, when you think about our carbon footprint, what's the number one piece of our carbon footprint? Data centers, right? A lot of data going across that network. Data centers are number one. What's number two? Anybody guess? Marketing. Back to those sponsorships. We do a lot of sponsorships. So really important for us to think about how we strategically use those. We sponsor the British Open that's happening, just in a couple of weeks. We sponsor UEFA Champions League, so the final, which was here in London. We were involved in that. We sponsor Roland Garros, Major League Baseball, the Australian Open, you name it. We've got a lot, right? So what that means is we also have a lever on a lot of marketing messages. And we also have a connection to a lot of influencers who can help us inspire their fans and their community. So in February, at the Grammys in the United States, which is a big award ceremony for the music industry, we partnered with the #1 artist, the most Grammy-nominated artist, SZA, and she created a new song called Saturn. She dropped it on the Sunday night of the Grammys. We filmed her video in a forest. She was wearing a special dress. If you watch the video, it's got these little seeds sewn all over it. Conservation International, one of our key partners, helped pick those seeds. And then her fans, and she has millions and millions of fans all around the world, could then win access to those seeds. We shipped them in an eco package with a signed autograph that she hand-signed. And it went wild. Her fans loved this, right? They were so excited about it. We also activated with Lyft, where for the month of the Grammys, if you took a Lyft ride, it also went towards restoring a tree, thanks to our partnership with Conservation International. If you signed up with SiriusXM Radio during that month, it also restored a tree for every new sign-up they got when you paid with your Mastercard. We partnered with gaming companies and others to do the same. And what we saw from this marketing campaign was just tremendous. It blew through all of the marketing campaigns we've ever done. The numbers were exponential. And wow, marketing was a little shocked. It was our first kind of test and learn. So what's interesting is we have all these great marketing metrics, right? We know how to measure a successful marketing campaign. But how do we measure? Did that actually inspire SZA's followers? Did it inspire the Lyft riders or the SiriusXM listeners? So more work for us to do to kind of figure that out. But from what we know from kind of our first dip in the toe in this Inspire strategy is people are paying attention. They loved it. We did a similar thing at UEFA at the Champions League final. Hopefully some of you saw. I don't know if any of you read the Daily Mail. But the Daily Mail even covered this. Gareth Bale, who's a big football player, probably all of you or most of you maybe know him, he pledged through a partnership we established with a group called Pledge Ball. He pledged a simple act to drink low-carbon milk substitutes like almond milk or oat milk or soy milk, right? Something simple. And what Pledge Ball did for us is kind of the same idea of how do we leverage famous, amazing, talented football players that have incredible fans. I think UEFA has something like 450 million fans. And so by activating their networks, by taking a small action and being really public about it, the idea is to bring optimism, to bring action, to bring inspiration to change. So, okay, hopefully that gives you an idea of what we're trying to do around Inspire. And again, think about your marketing messages that your organization sends out. How do you bring the positive and the action, leveraging the influencers that you're connected with to show what a sustainable, fulfilling lifestyle looks like and how amazing it can be? Okay, the second pillar. So once we've established people want to live a more sustainable lifestyle, how do they know what that is? So the second pillar is inform, right? And there's a lot of tricky messaging out there. Is it greenwashing? Can you trust the data? How do you know what is more sustainable than something else? So we have our first product out, the Mastercard Carbon Calculator. So at the end of the month, if you bank with one of our banks that offers our carbon calculator, you see the line items of everything you've spent and your total financial spend. And then you see the line items of everything that you've spent and an estimated carbon impact. Now, we know it's an estimation, right? It needs to get more granular. We also know right now we're providing this information after you've bought something. But wouldn't it be more useful if you had that information at the beginning of your purchasing process? So we're working with those 100 million points of acceptance, all those merchants, to figure out how can we, in a trusted way, provide that type of information as we get more granular at the right point in time when you're making those decisions. So through Inspire, you want to live a more sustainable, fulfilling lifestyle. Through Inform, now you know a bit more about what is more sustainable than something else, and that data will get better. And data, of course, really important. We have a lot of data, so a huge opportunity there. But then the third pillar is engage. How do we turn people wanting to live a more sustainable lifestyle, people being informed about what the better choice is, what's that pathway to action to make it real? And one of the things I love about being in London is the tube, right? When you ride the tube, I can just tap my Mastercard and go. I don't need to wait in that line like I used to for the Oyster card, right? When I live in New York, same thing. Like when I go to the New York subway, I tap my Mastercard and go in. So my hometown, though, is San Francisco. Can I do it there? I cannot. Paris, which is hosting the Olympics, could all those tourists coming in do that? No. So there's more friction in those cities, and what we're all about is how do we take the friction out of low carbon transit opportunities. So hopefully, some of you came on the tubes, hopefully as you leave on the tube, just think about how easy this is now, right? And the vision that we have is let's do this for city bikes. Like how many of you have tried to download that app, right? It's so frustrating. And guess what? If you go to a different city, if you go to Paris or you go to San Francisco or New York, it's a different app, it's a different system. Or wait a minute, I don't want to take the bike, I want to take the scooter in the same city. A whole nother thing. So again, how can we, and we've done this in Finland, it's our first example of working with a bike system where you just tap, get on the bike, and it's as easy as that. So that's the future for us, including with EVs. We're putting credit cards in cars. We've done this with Mercedes, with Skoda, a bunch of different brands. So your EV, as it drives into the charging station knows your car, the car knows the charging station. You don't need to fiddle around. So how do we enable, how do we make things easier? And to tie this back to the panel right before around nature, another way to take action is through our Priceless Planet Coalition. And there was a lot of talk earlier about collaboration and doing things together. That's what that coalition is all about. It's about restoring 100 million trees in partners with our merchants and our banking partners and others. We have 150 partners together. Today, we have 20 locations of forest restoration projects that Conservation International and World Resources Institute are implementing. So that's the vision. Inspire, be optimistic, change your marketing message to not be one of doom and gloom in this space, of opportunity and action. So people want to live that lifestyle. Help inform, provide trusted information, not greenwashing, but clearly assured data that can be substantiated so people know what's a more sustainable choice, and then drive that pathway to action to make it real. So choice, of course, is really important. As Mastercard, we have a responsibility to help activate that whole value chain. That's why I came to this company, right? The scale of what we can do, but it will take the whole value chain. And again, if you have a Mastercard, you're part of that chain, right? You're part of the process of what we're trying to change. So thanks for the time today. Enjoy London Climate Action Week, and keep it embedded in action. Thanks, everyone.